Be convinced that...
You mean the customer?
Yeah, the customer, yeah.
Okay, so just to make sure, because SAP is a product company, even if the customer comes, we will ask 100 other customers as well before we start to do that. And also what is good for us is that we have the eternal need to have a product owner who will at the end come up with questioning all the stakeholders, or even one customer who will come up with the vision of this product and the roadmap. Because 1 year project is not something you will just do like that. You will probably do something like a roadmap. In the first 3 months or the first quarter, we want to be able to do this because this is the most valuable piece in the requirements of the customer. In the next one, we will enhance these scenarios and we want this scenario, and then the next one and the next one. And when we estimate this vision, if it will work with the roadmap, then we can check is it doable for 1 year or not. And we will get the sign-off of the customer. I mean, agile doesn't mean we don't do anything, we plan anything, and we just start and go, and we hope we end up somewhere. It actually requires a lot of discipline. It requires as well because if the customer say, oh, I have this nice idea, start to do something and we'll see how it goes, that's not enough. This customer have to sit down with the team and the product owner to specify the scenarios, the roles, the users who will be using the software, how the interactions will go on, what is the main thing that have to happen at the end. And then you can say, okay, to achieve that, you can do it this way, this way, and this way. If you do it this way, it will be that cost. If you do it this way, it will be that cost, and this way with that cost. And you can say, okay, let's start with that solution.
But the granularity probably is different if you follow the waterfall approach rather than Scrum, because you are agile, things might change rather very differently. So it's kind of, you don't want to waste too much time to detail everything for half a year in advance.
Sure.
And then if you don't have that much of details, then your estimation will suffer from this. And there should be some balance between it.
Sure, that's why I said you detailize the scenario we want to do at the beginning. You have blocks, like I will be able to log in and select something and do something. I don't know the details. Is it, with the touchpad, and how do I select it, and is it from tens of thousands or one item? I don't know yet the details, but the blocks should be there. And the blocks are actually the building block of your first product backlog, and the product backlog is a living thing, because it evolves over the time. And if there was a big block for selecting an item which is very unknown and we estimated maybe 100 story points, when we go slowly down the backlog and it's almost about time to start with this one, the product owner needs to sit down with the team and the stakeholder and say, okay, let's see what's inside this box. And they will put some stories out of it to create. But they will not do everything up front, because this block might actually just vanish and another one will come.
And in that respect, do you see an issue if the stakeholders and the rest of the Scrum team are in different organizations, for example?
No. I mean, stakeholders are actually usually external. Many times, most of the times they are external to your organization. Product owners, I have worked with the situation where the product owner was in the same organization. I have worked also with the product owner external, because he was more responsible to talk to hundreds of customers, and that was his main role. Of course, he needs to transfer everything that these hundreds of customers told him to a language that developer can understand for the requirements, and then if something is ready, he has to be able to show to the customers, but this doesn't mean he needs to sit inside. For example, one of these first product owners was a product manager coming from another organization. He had no IT background, but he was really good when he talked with customers to understand what they want and what they need. And when he came to the team, he said, if you ask me to install something, if you ask me to configure something, I'm lost. You have to give me a link where I can see what you have done and I can click through. But don't ask me, you know, to do some complex IT stuff, I'm completely lost. And actually this was very good for the project because also the developers learned how to do that. And what also happened in this first project was that he was doing a demo on this link, you know, one of the instances where the software was installed, and the developers were changing something, and the demo crashed. And then he came back and said, guys, you know, we need to make sure that there is a process, and when you give me this, it's stable, at least until the next sprint, you know. Then we came up with two systems, one development and one for stable system for him, and we learned how to do that. And it was an external person to the team.
External to the team, but to the company?
To the company it was internal, yeah.
Because there is some trust in the company that otherwise between companies, I think if you have stakeholders outside, they want to also be sure that you're professionals there and that you know, your velocity is really your optimum velocity. And when you're in the same company, this kind of, you know, we are on the same team, and I have part in hiring the people, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but if we're 2,000 miles away, even if we're in the same company, it's still a challenge that needs to be solved.
Of course.
And it's the Scrum team, you know, the Scrum team, no matter where the product owner or the Scrum master will come with the team, they need to have the same training, they need to have a decent kickoff of the project together, they need to know each other, to build this trust over the time with the way they work so that they can deliver. That's okay. But it doesn't mean they have to be buddies and they need to sit next to each other. That's not a must. And stakeholders will usually be outside. Yeah.
Like during your entire conversation now, you're just mentioning learning. For example, what tools and methods do you use to make your team learn as fast as possible and to remove all the impediments, all the hindrances that you can place there, just to remove them so that they can learn as much as possible all the time? How do you do that?
There's no one answer to that. That's an everyday answer of the Scrum Master. You need a good Scrum Master because the Scrum Master is there, and there are a lot of people who ask me what percentage of the time the Scrum Master needs to, can he develop and just, you know, do some Scrum Mastering on top. But the Scrum Master have to be focused on the way the team is working and on removing these backlogs, and he needs to be there because there is no best practice. It doesn't matter what kind of tools you come up, they will over the time be too complex and you need to do something else as well. And Scrum Master role is to take this side, you know, role of looking at the whole system. He has to have this, you know, vision of this is the team and this is the system, how they operate, and to come up with new ways. Sometimes it will be a training. Sometimes there was one Scrum Master, she said, you know, most of my time is like spending time with the people separately doing something so that they can at the end, you know, learn to do something. Sometimes I play tennis. I'm very tennis on board. Table tennis. With them, I'm very lousy at that, but because that's the only chance I can talk very freely with one of the members who is usually very quiet, I do that because I can influence in this moment to the person. Sometimes I go and ask some people to bring trainings to me or to come up with ideas for trainings because I have no other ideas how I can do the next step for the team. But that's why we have this rolling Scrum. That's the main responsibility of this person is to see these topics, and the moment they are popping up, to start to find a solution. There is no way that you start with the best solution and he doesn't need to do anything. And actually if they do that, if they live through that, the bond between the people for the team is much higher because they overcome some issues and they manage to be better together and trust that the Scrum Master is doing everything and the team is doing everything and the product owner gets the best of the velocities there because they are resolving them. If they are just doing and nothing pops up and happens, there is no trust that they are making the best.
So the Scrum Master is also a people manager. From what
He's not, okay, so people manager, he needs to be